Let's do that.
So, Benny, why are we here today? What are we going to discuss?
I think we're going to initially discuss for any people that managed to avoid the back end of last season, where we were just spamming the whole of the Twitter community with this Gameweek 39 event, and you happen to miss it. We're just going to recap on what it is, what it was, and what it continues to be, why we did it, what we did it for, and sadly, we might touch upon the result of the match as well, which I've still not got over.
Dear, oh dear. I think,
still painful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing the result as well. But for those that don't know what Gameweek 39 is, how it came about, how would you describe it in a few sentences?
Soccer aid for Twitter nerds. Basically, it's basically what that YouTube game was the other day, YouTube v Sidemen, but for all of us FPL geeks. But it was all in aid of charity, so we had a reason to turn up. I know they raised a bit of money for charity as well, but we did our own part. So they've nicked the idea off us. And to be honest with you, I saw a little bit of that game and it was absolutely awful. Our game was of slightly better caliber than that, which is unbelievable to say. I think their game was something like 8-7 or something, which we thought our game might end up being, whereas ours was a bit closer, and it was I think it was 2-1, sadly, victory to the South. But we're going to do it all over again, and hopefully we'll get the correct result this time and even the contest. That's the plan.
Exactly. And, whilst Team South won on that historic day, I want to basically thank every single player that turned up, all the spectators that came as well. It was a self-funded event. It was a not-for-profit event, and it was the largest ever fantasy football event outside of London. And it wouldn't have been possible for all those that made it happen, really. And for the players in particular...
Just to interrupt you there, it's probably the only FPL Twitter event outside of London as well, so we can't be too proud of that one.
Yeah, I'll blame Fez for that. They still need to do an event north of the M25.
But they're pissing off to New York before coming up north. They're scared of. And the two lads who run Fest are northern players. It's absolutely scandalous, to be honest with you. So yeah, not good.
But yeah, I think even Benny, the budget that we had, it was quite remarkable to see, the budget that we had and what a fantastic day it turned out to be. But the players paid, in terms of the money they spent, the time they've spent, the miles they traveled, fair play to them as well. So I really can't thank people enough. I know we've thanked them at the end of last season, but I just want to acknowledge that before we begin tonight's proceedings. And I think without further ado, should we make the big announcement straight away, or should we let's talk about the charity first of all. I think Street Child United, actually. I don't know. I'll build up the suspense and then we'll go in. Sorry, what's going on here? Let's get this, share my screen. Give me one moment, everyone. New to the technology, I'm going to share my screen. Get this up. So Street Child United is a charity that helps street-connected children from around the world with the power of sport, in essence. And I'll be honest with you, I wish we could say this idea came about because we knew about this fantastic cause first. It was the other way around. But when we, through Gianni Buttici's association with this fantastic charity, we came to know more about what the fantastic work that they do. And in terms of the money that we raised through Gameweek 39 last season, over £6,000 was raised. But I believe, Benny, with gift aid and later donations, it was almost £7,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, we think so. I think we put this tweet out, and the Just Giving page was still open for contributions, and then the gift aid gets added on top of that. So I think it was just shy of 7,000, which I don't think we expected to get anywhere near that sort of figure. We had no idea. I mean, just echoing what you were saying before, Ash, about the commitment that the lads who played the game made to an event which was a bit of an unknown, and potentially could have just fell flat on its arse. Everyone from both teams, and a lot of the other people who helped out as well, the commentators,
yes,
all the people who, I mean, there's too many to sort of mention right now, but they all contributed their own money, came to play, and took a chance on an event which was an unknown, and they all put a lot of money towards it, and the time and commitment, and on the back of that, to then raise nearly 7,000 for a charity is
amazing.
Is brilliant. And if the aim this year again is to better that, that we've got like a target that we can try and surpass, hopefully. So if I think by and large the consensus is that the event was a huge success, apart from the results. I'll keep mentioning that. But it was a brilliant event, the game, and then obviously everything afterwards, the drinks, both teams were there after, all the banter beforehand, and the battle of the game. We were all there drinking together, and stayed out late, and we had a great night. And then to obviously raise all that money, it couldn't have gone any better. The event for us was much smoother and more successful than we expected. So we want to try and better it, and hopefully people who enjoyed it will come back again, and we can gather a bit more momentum for it and get even more spectators in the stadium, more people watching on the stream, more people involved in different sort of ways, and again raise even more money for charity, which is the essence of what the spirit of what the event was all about in the first place, was just to raise money, have a good day out, and raise money for a charity, a great cause.
Absolutely. And like you've said, Benny, it was like first time, it could have ended up in, it could have been a complete disaster, and we would have never have done it again. And we've not even done the big announcement yet. You've alluded to it, and I was going to say that it was such a good success. We're going to end it on a high, and with the South winning. I wish I could say that, but there's more to it. And without further ado, shall we do the big?
What is the big announcement, Ash? I'm excited.
Oh, actually, I don't even know yet.
Is it that you're Randy Shafter? Is that the big announcement?
Do you know, that was one of my biggest disappointments, that I never got to meet him. And I'm convinced, right, he was secretly sitting in the stands watching us play football. But yeah, it's not meant to be, unfortunately.
I mean, he's not turned up because he's absolutely shite at football. And if he wants to prove me wrong, he can turn up. He won't.
Fair play.
Anyway, let's move on.
So with the magic of the YouTube stream, we're pleased to announce that Gameweek 39 will take place again in 2023 on the 3rd of June at Castle Vale Stadium. And it just felt right, with all the fantastic feedback that we had and the conversations that we've had, Benny, since that match, that a rematch seemed the most logical thing to do. We know that, we could have done different formats and different things, but this rematch, it just seemed so perfect. Seemed so right. So that is our big announcement, that Gameweek 39 Part 2 is going to happen again. And in the chat there, is it going to be revenge, or is it going to be a repeat? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we did toy with the idea of taking it to another city across the UK somewhere, and it was like that was the big decision to make. I think initially we wanted to maybe go somewhere different, but with it, we just thought, for the simplicity, we would just literally replicate what we did, hopefully with more spectators there, and it went so perfectly. Let's try and just do it all over again, and that's why we've come up with a revenge or repeat. And hopefully we will get our revenge, and we'll get to celebrate in that stadium and around Birmingham afterwards. So that's the plan. It's
Benny,
for us. It's a little bit. We're going to be repeating what we did in terms of the stadium, the events afterwards, the pub that we went to afterwards. That's been booked the same, so we can replicate the exact day with a totally different result, and that's it.
and can I ask you, Benny? I just want to like be fully transparent here that I didn't have a hand in the logo that was created last season and this season. But why is it that the South player is always more athletic in aesthetic than the Northern player in the logo?
I don't know. I think Doodles, who's kindly made and created the logo yet again for us, I'm guessing he's a Southerner, based on. Yeah, I mean, it's just, but we got beat, so we have to take that on the chin, don't we? That was pretty much, that photo is Stevie the night before the game, which is part of the problem. We've got to keep our players indoors before the match, and the other one's David Mundy, isn't it? Probably, who was reading a book or something. So, I can't take the piss out of them. You won, but our players like a bevy, and you lot like a book.
We do. We do love our books, and do you know, like,
we can't read.
I really can't. Do you know what? Like, from our side, I don't want to say that we're full of like bookworms and whatnot, but my goodness, we planned and prepped like there was no tomorrow for game week 39. Even the night before, I can't tell you what we were getting up to. So yeah, that was it. It kind of like our game plan. It came to fruition and it worked. And yeah, just the win felt so great. I mean, we had, obviously a fantastic opposition. I know that you had some unfortunate last minute injuries that didn't help, but yeah, the win just felt so fantastic on the day. Obviously, it was a good cause as well.
You might have won, but we were in the strippers till 4 a.m. the night before. So who really won?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, dear, oh dear. But yeah, I guess we won the moral victory, and you won the vice victory.
We went away. We went away the happier men, though. So,
but we went away with the trophy. So,
yeah, well, we had our own version of a trophy. Don't you worry.
Yes. Oh. But one thing I want to say, Benny, because I know you've, since game week 39 finished, you've had people contacting you about the Northern team. I've had people contacting me about Team South as well. And there's something that I just want to emphasize, that one of the byproducts of game week 39 was these two teams were created from scratch by Benny, but they've literally become their own teams. And it's created a sense of camaraderie in both teams, whereby, like, random people, obviously we all knew each other through FPL Twitter, some were Analytics FC, Graphs FC, Meme FC, whatever. But like, we've effectively become two teams. And I believe I might be speaking correctly with Team North here as well, that with Team South specifically, that for those people players that took part in May of this year, they have earned their right to play again in 2023, because we feel part of the same team. And what that means is that there are opportunities, which we'll come on to, for new players to join the team, but the current crop of players that we have in both squads pretty much remains the same. Is that correct, what I've said there, Benny?
Like,
your team as well?
When we first set out on this venture, I just randomly sent DMs to all the sort of main content creators and sort of big accounts on Twitter, basically people I knew, and I just reached out to people to see what the interest would be, not knowing whether they were where they lived, from the north of England, from the south of England, or even overseas. So it was a little bit of a just throw messages out there and see who responded. And then based on the responses we got, we built two separate squads, which there was a few people dropped out and a few people added on, but the sort of crux of both squads were from just random messages sent out and seeing who was interested, and we got a really good uptake on it. And like I say, we do owe a lot to those people who committed to a bit of a random event that me and Ash, who we didn't really know each other ourselves, we're trying to cobble together. We've got no history in, event planning or anything, and we were going into it a bit blind. So we're really appreciative of all those people who joined us, and because without them, we did have no event. So we basically said to those players, if you all want to play again, then you get to play again. Who are we to turn around to anyone that turned up and played the first time and say you can't be a part of it this time? But what we're keen to do is we don't want it to become like an elitist event where it's like a ring fence sort of closed shop and no one else ever gets a chance to be involved. We want to give opportunities to other people who either couldn't make it or didn't know about it to be a part of it, and even to actually join the squads. So we've increased the sizes of our squads. That's the plan. And I think, I'm not involved at all with what the South do anymore. My only involvement was obviously prior to the event when we just sent the first messages out. My focus is just on what the North do. But I think me and Ash have obviously discussed plans for each other's teams. He's told me what they're up to, and I've told him what our plans are. But we do hope to include new people to join our squads. And the fairest way to do it, we thought, is to hold some trials. I think so. That's probably the biggest announcement for today. Rather than, we told people the date for the new event and where we're going to be, which is pretty much the same as last year. The difference this time around is that people will have the opportunity to turn up and try and impress and force their way into the team. The only sort of condition of it is you have to be an active FPL Twitter account, not one that's just created the day before. You have to perform within the community. It doesn't matter how big the account is either. It's not a case of, I know a lot of the players who played last year were, some of the biggest accounts on Twitter and some of the biggest content creators. We're not bothered about that. We've got all those people like Sir Ben Crellin and Abdul and Ross, FPL Raptor. We've got all these people who are playing anyway. We want to include everyone. So if you're keen and you're good enough and you want to be a part of it, then we're going to hold some trials. The first one is, I'll let Ash talk about the plans for the South. We're holding a game in Leeds in November the 20th, which is a Sunday, which is the first day of the World Cup. So we're we're sort of initially planning to have the North team as it is now. I think about at least 12, 13 of us are going to be there to play, hopefully, a trialist team. So what I'll be doing is reaching out to people on Twitter and, accepting people if they want to send me a DM to the Gameweek 39 Twitter account. Let me know if you're interested and want to play, what position you are, if you can make it down to that day, and we'll get you involved. And then afterwards, we'll have a drink and watch the opening game of the World Cup. So it's going to be a little mini event in itself. So if anyone fancies coming along, playing in Leeds, having a run out, even just having a drink afterwards as well, and just being a part of like a little mini side event, just based around the North's team, then please reach out to us. We'll encourage you to be a part of it. We got beat, so we need, if you're good, definitely come. If you're shit, come anyway, because it'll increase our confidence if we beat you. And if you just want to have a drink, happy days, be there as well. So yeah, we encourage everyone to be there, except if you're Southern, don't turn up. You're not welcome.
And you mentioned Southern and Northern, right? We define that boundary if you're north of Castle Vale and you're south of Castle Vale, albeit with some wriggle room. Is that right?
Yes. And also overseas players, because we're not closing it off for people. Obviously, the North team had players from Wales, Scotland, Ireland, even the Netherlands with Pig. I think the South seemed to have so many players and so many people even in reserve, and the North had, far less.
Yeah.
So if you're in Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and you want to come over and be part of the trials, yeah, you're eligible to be part of Team North. It's basically South against rest of the world. So we all hate London. So come along and join in. For the Tories.
No, fair play to that. Yeah, with Team South, the way we select players is significantly different. And like Benny has said, Benny is in complete control of Team North, and I've got full authority over Team South. So I'm going to just flip the screen here. And
I can't say I'm in control of Team North. They're out of control. That group chat's crazy.
Oh, that group chat, I dare not look at it from some of the stuff I've heard.
No. Yeah, the stuff that we released was the PG sort of content. Some of the stuff in there would get us imprisoned, probably.
Goodness me. Wow. So look, with Team South, our selection process is slightly more different. Our squad was significantly more settled than Team North's, and we're not holding open trials. So we've already selected trialists for a friendly that we're going to host in Reading on the 16th of October. And those players that have been selected in that trialist team are basically players that have been literally recommended by Team South players, or those that got in touch with me saying that they're interested in playing for Team South. It's basically been a closed shop in that respect. Having said all of that, and Benny's talked about opportunities as well to join each of the respective teams, I do have 2 slots left in the trialist team for the 16th of October. So if you do live in the South and you are active within the FPL community, reach out to me. My DMs are open on the Team South FPL handle, or on @FPL hints, and we can see if we can accommodate your request. I can't guarantee if you'll be selected for this match for definite, but I will say this, that there's a very strong possibility for the few places that we have left in Team South that we will literally select the players based upon this trial match. And if there's a need for another one, then that will happen as well. But this is a very good opportunity. Like I've said, different form of selection criteria because the squad is more settled, but that door is open for anyone that is interested and they meet those requirements as well. But this match is less than a month away, so you need to DM me ASAP. And like I've said, I've literally got 2 places left, and I've explained that process that we have is more strict. And to be honest with you, we were a random lot, but we bonded together, and it feels like a band of brothers, Team South. And I've got no doubt Team North have that vibe as well. So for us, keeping that ambience is really important as well. So it's not a case of, he can kick a ball.
We don't say ambience in our team, stuff like that.
But yeah, like for us, it's about the person as well and how they gel as a team. We don't want like a Cristiano Ronaldo type person just rocking up, banging in a hat trick.
Haven't you got FPL Raptor in your team, though?
Oh yeah,
he's exactly like Ronaldo, but better apparently.
Oh no. Well, he actually taught Ronaldo everything that he knew. So
yeah.
Raptor's a legend, man.
Just one thing I was going to mention. Have you finished with the South trials bit? Because I wanted to, or did you want to just mention a couple more things there?
Sorry, just a couple more things. Apologies, Benny. So we've got this trial. Yeah, because a lot of the Team South members live so close together, we are fortunate in being able to host like friendly matches ahead of Game Week 39. So with our squad, once we know who we're going to pick, as in the new players and also existing players who are already selected, that we're going to also host more friendlies in Feb, March, April, and May as well. And I want to say this, that even if you don't play, if you're not selected for Team South, or you're not interested in trialing for Team South, if you have your own football team and you want to challenge us to a friendly, reach out to me as well. So that's another way of being engaged with the process. And I want to stress that FPL meets, specifically through Nima, he literally set up meets last year. It's become a sensation all over the world. But one of the byproducts was they set up FPL meets FC as well. So they've also challenged us to a few matches as well. So we really appreciate that competition as well. That if you've got your own team, or if you've got a band of like people that you think could challenge us for a match, reach out to me for that as well. And that's it, Benny, just from my side.
Yeah, I didn't want it to come across that we only had this one trials game in Leeds. We're planning on another one in Liverpool, just to make it easy for me, because I can't be bothered travelling any further. And that'll probably be March time next year, maybe a couple of months before the event. So we will hold. You basically got two opportunities for people in two different cities in the north of England if they want to come along for the Liverpool one. That'll be, I can't remember the date that I sort of penciled in just yet, but there will be a second trials date for the north as well. So if you can't make the Leeds date and the Liverpool one suits you, you've got a second opportunity to get in. And like I say, I think there may be 5 or 6 places roughly available in the North squad, and they're going to be open to anyone from the north of England or any of the other sort of home nations or further afield. So Scandinavia, Netherlands, India, America. If you've got that sort of commitment and you want to come and trial, then we'll take you.
And you've got to be good at memes as well. That's my understanding of the Northern team.
Yeah. If you can drink, if you can smoke a couple of ciggies at half time and you can throw a meme together, you've got a great chance of being in. God knows how Hindu Monkey got in there, but you can't do any of those things.
No. Apart from that, I just want to say that I also want to thank Benny as well. That Benny really brought this concept to life when we first talked about this September of last year. And it literally, we aren't like event planners. This isn't our forte. We've learned so much throughout this process in terms of organizing an event of this scale, and then liaising with the different stakeholders as well. So it's been a really fascinating journey, and the fact that we're able to repeat this again, it just makes perfect sense. So from my side, I'm really looking forward to that, and we're gonna make sure that we prep up and train as hard as we can to beat the North again.
Yeah, it should be good. I think it was a very competitive match last year. There was a lot of banter, mainly, there was absolute trash talking from the north towards the south. And even though it was painful on the day to lose, there was a little bit of me that was actually quite happy for the South lads that after all the shit that we gave them, that they did pinch the victory. So from an event point of view, as an organizer, it was probably the perfect result because it gives a lot more, maybe it generates more interest in the second game. We've got obviously, a point to prove, and you want to defend your trophy. So I think the build-up will be just as tasty, if not tastier than last season. And I think the game's going to be more competitive. Both teams, I think, are going to be stronger than they were. And the standard was better than I thought and expected it to be. It was all right. And I think it's going to be better next time around. So come along, be there, and if you can't play, there's other things that we can get you involved in. We had the likes of Mode and Richie who did the commentary last year in the game. The Planet FPL lads who they did the live recording of the match. There were so many different people who contributed to the event, and there will be other roles available. So if you can't play or you don't want to play and you just want to be there, but even if you can just be there as a spectator and be a part of it that way and come and have a few drinks with us afterwards, we'd be massively grateful to have you there. So please get involved in whatever way you can.
And Benny, you talked about participation. I'm just looking at the chat here. There's already some folks in here who are saying they're keen to participate in the trials and also offer their services in different ways as well. So I think that's something that is fantastic, from the get-go, that we've got that interest there. I'll
Yeah.
forward some of the names onto you as well if you've not already seen them.
Yeah, I've seen a few people on the chat, and I think I know a lot of them, like the Penguin and Jamie, and that. Jamie was at the Gameweek 39. He came down to watch. So, yeah, I think they're already following the Gameweek 39 accounts. If you're not, and you're in this chat and you want to be involved, if you can follow that account, the handles flashing across the screen at GW39FPL. If you follow me on that, and like I say, anyone who wants to be part of the North Trials, if you just DM me on that, and I can talk to you and give you a bit more information. If it's anything for the South or South related, just message Ash direct. Is that what you want, Ash?
Yeah, just message me directly. DMs are open, so they're happy, and then we can take it from there. Basically, there's something else, Benny, we've completely forgot to mention, and I think this is like a massive part of what made it engaging. The fact that Game Week 39 had its own fantasy football game, and that was through Gaffer.io. And I believe to this day, like, that's the first time that a charity football match actually had a fantasy football game. So we're hopeful that we can get a fantasy football game set up again for Game Week 39 next year as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I haven't spoke to Sean yet, who's the organizer of the Gaffer game, or he's one of the organizers, and he was massively his handles at ragtime_Willie. Sean Kumsky, he was brilliant last year. He got the game together for us in a couple of days, and I mean, I think that was the massive thrill for all of us who have been, massive football lovers and big FPL fans for so many years, to actually be in a fantasy game ourselves. It's kind of surreal to be playing in a match, knowing that you were, scoring FPL points potentially. I think I came away with 2, which was pretty dreadful. But yeah, it was still surreal to be able to captain yourself in a fantasy game. And I think we had well over 1,000 people, create teams and sort of compete for this this one-off fantasy game that we had. So yeah, we're going to do the same again, and based on last year's performance, I'll be changing the prices of some players. I think I'll be down to a 5.5 million midfielder or something now, a bit of enabler rather than the premium asset that I put myself last season. So yeah, the likes of Nacho, who bagged 2 goals and could have scored another 5. He's going to be worth a lot of money. So yeah, it should be good fun, and hopefully Sean can sort that game out for us again. And it's just another little extra that we can, adds a little bit more interest to the event and what we're doing. So yeah. Again, get involved in that, and it'd be a lot of fun.
And just from a personal perspective, the moment you had those price reveals, for me, it hit home that, oh, wow, this is obviously, we booked the stadium, had all the other stuff sorted out. But like those price reveals before before match day, and then the actual team reveals on the match day really brought it to life. And I think it made it extra special. Obviously, the fact we all came together with our respective teams, had good fun on the day as well. But like the fantasy element, although on the day itself it was completely forgotten about because we're all focused on the match. I think that was a really fantastic. It was just so appropriate, considering that we're all fantasy football managers and we're playing within the game. And I think we all captained each other. We all captained ourselves because we thought this might be the only time we actually may have this opportunity. And I've just seen a question here. It's a really good question, actually. Will the event be streamed somewhere? So I'm happy to answer that question, Benny. So due to insurance reasons, we were not allowed to live stream, and it's strange. It's the quote unquote statement was televised, and even though it's just on YouTube, we were forbidden to do it. We were allowed to do like a Twitter space, which was done live on the day through Richie and Mode, as Benny has mentioned, but like we could not televise it. So unless the insurance policy that we get doesn't prohibit it, we possibly might look into that. But again, then if we do stream it, then maybe people won't come, because we want people to turn up. because this is the other thing. We weren't making money from the tickets. All of the ticket sales were direct donations to Street Child United. So it's in our incentive for as many people as possible to come on the day as well. So we'll look at the streaming element as well. But I think we had a good balance there, didn't we, Benny, with the full highlights as well as the Twitter space on the day.
Yeah, I don't think we should live stream it. I know there's an insurance issue last time, but I think the way we did it last year was great. The game went live a couple of days later. Planet FPL lads uploaded it on their YouTube channel, and they also edited like a highlights package where Sudge was running around before pre-match, during the game. It was brilliant. It was like a short little sort of match of the day highlights, really. So I think how we did it last year was ideal. So yeah, I'd like to just repeat that, as long as James and Sudge are both up for doing that again, and obviously Manchild and Nico and the lads behind the scenes, and obviously we had Mode and Richie, who the live aspect of it was captured via Spaces, which was obviously happening whilst the game was taking place, and then we just married up that commentary with the actual footage, and you could watch the full match a couple of days later. So I think we'll just do exactly the same, as long as all those same people are on board to do it. I've not asked them yet. I'm hopeful that they'll all be keen to repeat that again for us, because it was ideal. It was like I say, it was a brilliant experience to be part of that game, and then to be able to, to be part of the fantasy game of it, and then to actually be able to watch it back on TV, professionally filmed as well, a couple of days later. It was, it was special to kind of experience all that. So yeah, if we can get that done again, I think that's the way we should go, really.
Exactly. And I've got another good question that's come in that we've actually discussed off air as well. Benny, has come from FPL Dan. He's noticed that the FA Cup final is taking place on the same day as Game Week 39 next year. How dare they? So, Dan, to answer that, Champions League final, as we know, took place on the same day as Game Week 39 of this year. And our understanding is that the FA Cup final will potentially kick off around 4:45, 5 o'clock. It's tended to be in the later afternoon. And for Game Week 39 2023, we haven't announced the kickoff time just yet for that very reason. And the chances are that because the FA Cup final is taking place roughly at that time, we'll probably bring the kickoff time forwards to 1:30. And then by the time the match finishes, there'll be enough time to go to the after party and watch it there. Is that right, Benny? I've got that.
Yeah. I mean, last year, the weekend after Game Week 38, the last game of the season, was the Champions League final, which obviously featured Liverpool. So, and that did have a bit of a knock-on effect, because some of the Liverpool fans, most of them based in Scandinavia as usual, they couldn't make the game. Some of the players as well, and some of the people who were going to actually come along and be part of the events, they couldn't come. So that was. We knew that would happen, but this is obviously going to be potentially more problematic, because it's going to involve probably two Premier League sides, and that might, it's for certain fans of those clubs, they might not be able to make our event. But we're going to have to. The theme of it is it's the weekend after Game Week 38, hence the name of the event. So that's the date that we'll keep. And to give everyone the option of actually watching the match, we'll just move our kickoff time around, dependent on when the FA Cup schedule for, so that people got time to finish up and then get to the pub where the game will be televised and we'll be able to watch it. So yeah, it gives us the opportunity, and gives people who are there the opportunity to do both, and hopefully it'll be two championship sides that make the final, and there'll be less people affected in our game. So we'll see.
Exactly. And the reality is, we could have picked any day, but like, it's Game Week 39 for a reason, and we literally can't move it for that very reason as well. And also, the chances are that if we pushed it a further week, then players wouldn't be available. And I think the momentum from FPL, you just want that downtime as well from FPL as well. So having it at the time slot that we have and the date that we have makes sense. And also, just a tip off to everyone that the 2nd of June, the Friday, could potentially be a bank holiday if the coronation happens. So you'll get the actual day before off. So an extra excuse to travel up to Birmingham the day before and then stay the night over and then obviously watch Game Week 39 in the stadium. So I just thought I'd mention that. That's to be confirmed. But yeah, the time, like you said, we haven't announced the exact kickoff time just yet. Just want to wait for the FA to announce the exact time for the FA Cup final, and then we'll announce that. But yeah, the date remains the 3rd of July. I've got a question here for my DMs, Benny. And this person asks, if Benny loses a Game Week 39 again, what will he do?
Well, yeah, we have discussed potential plans for Game Week 39 2023, which we won't go into just yet. We won't lose. That's what's going to happen. The North will win this time. I give you my word. That's it. There's not more to add. It will happen. I will make it happen. I don't know how, but it will happen.
And it's almost as if, like, you know, like God forbid if you win, then it's 1-1, and it's almost like we need that ultimate decider, perhaps. But yeah, I think
basically we've discussed that, haven't we, Ash? If South win, we have to give it up. You know, we've lost twice to a gang of Southerners. There's no hiding place from that. We have to take it on the chin. North v South is over, and we'll look at Game Week 39 with a different idea for the 3rd year. If we do win, which I fully expect us to do, then we level the series, and then we go into a trilogy, and it's a you know, that's the tiebreaker. So that's where we are.
I've got my fellow Team South team member here, FPL team. There is no if in South winning, Benny. Don't roll my lads up.
We will do battle again, Peter, young man. We will do battle again.
And there's just got a random question in the chat as well. That does anyone know when the end of season fan fest will be? Is that fantasy football? I have no idea.
Oh, the Fantasy Football Fest. Yeah, they won't. I mean, Gianni and Ed are obviously in the North team, so
yeah,
you know, and we've got obviously a good relationship, and we've been, you know, Ash and I, when we were planning this, we've talked about when they're announcing stuff and when we're planning to do stuff, and we've worked around each other so that we're not clashing with stuff on Twitter, and you know, we're complementary towards each other. So. Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything immediately at the end of the season anyway. I think they've got some plans maybe in the January time. I don't know beyond that, but they're fully aware of the dates for this. I mean, Gianni works for Street Charge United, who are the charity that we're raising money for. So he's fully aware of our plans, and I think they'll make sure that the things don't overlap, because you know, Fest is obviously a great event as well, and you know, we're doing something different to what they're doing. You know, ours is purely a charity thing that we're just, you know, it's a game of football and a charity and a casual meet up afterwards. Fest is, you know, a bigger, you know, it's all geared around fantasy football. Ours is a football match that's raising money for charity. It's slightly different.
Exactly. And another question that's come in as well, and I think you've kind of covered how Team North are going to do it. And like, you know, I mentioned about Team South will have friendlies between now and Game Week 39. You're not having any actual friendlies apart from these 2 trials. Is that right, Benny?
Yeah, I mean, we went to St. George's Park last year and had a big training session, and our intention is to try and arrange that as well. So the sort of final North team squad will be in place by the time we plan to do that, which will be like a month or so before the actual game, obviously the Game Week 39 match. So yeah, we'll have those 2 trial games, one in Leeds in November, one in Liverpool in March time, and then we'll organise the St. George's Park training session. and that's probably, realistically the best that we can do, because we're all spread, around the north of England, and then Wales, Scotland, and other parts of Europe. So it's much harder for us to get together. So yeah, we'll do well to get those 2 games in. There's a lot of work involved, and we've cobbled together enough players to get this trials game in Leeds, and hopefully we get enough trialists to make up another team. That's the aim. I've got a few contingency plans if we don't, so that we can still put on a match, and we can still have the trialists that want to come down. But I've got no idea what the demand's going to be, whether I'll get 15, 20 people all wanting to play, or whether we'll get 4 or 5. I'll just await the DMs, and hopefully we'll get enough who want to be a part of it. For most of last season's build up to the event, there was a lot of messages sent to me and to Ash asking to be involved in it. So hopefully those same people are interested this time around, and we can get them an opportunity through the trials to be a part of it as well. Please be good at football, then.
Yeah, especially for Team South, that is. No, I'm joking. I was going to say that, like you mentioned, participation, and just for those that may have missed it at the start of the stream, that when we say participation, it's not even necessarily in a playing role. If you feel in a non-playing capacity you've got something to offer to either team, feel free to reach out to us as well, even on a volunteering basis. I think one of the things that would have, again, a nice to have this year would have been if we just had a few more volunteers. For those that did volunteer, they did a fantastic job, but we feel that just would have made things a bit more seamless on the day as well if we had a few extra pair of hands on the day. But if you're interested in doing that as well, that would be fantastic. So you can participate in multiple ways, I guess. And ultimately, of course, there are 2 teams. We both want to win, but it is for a fantastic cause. It's Street Child United. I shared the graphic at the start of the stream. Feel free to check out their website and the fantastic work that they're doing with street connected children from around the world, and how they leverage the power of sport to change lives. I think that's really it from my side, Benny. I think we've covered our bases. We had like a little agenda as well, which I feel that we've covered. Anything else that you want to add?
No, I think we've covered everything really. It's like I say, if anyone's got any questions in here and they want to fire them up now, we'll answer them. And other than that, if you want to make contact with me directly, I look after the Gameweek 39 account. I'd say to DM me on the Benny Blanco account, but that's sadly I'm in a Twitter ban at the moment, so I'm on my Benny Blanco account. So yeah, you can get me on that one at the moment. Don't DM Benny Blanco though, because he won't hear you. But yeah, if you want to send us a message via the Gameweek 39 account, feel free, and I'll answer what I can. And like I say, we'd love to get you involved. Come down to Leeds, meet the lads. I think Gianni and Ed are going to be there. Hindu Monkey, myself, Ben Crellin is going to be there. Just trying to think who else will be there. Sam Martin. There's 12 of us, I think, total that are going to be at the game. So we'd love to meet you all and have a drink afterwards as well. So please come down, get involved, and be a part of the North and the revenge, which is what we're setting out to do. It all starts here.
And if you don't want to be part of the revenge, but you want to be part of the repeat, and you live south of Castle Vale, and you're free on the 16th of October, we've got 2 trial spots left for the Trialist team that we're going to play in Reading. Please DM me as soon as possible. I can't make any further accommodations beyond that, and the chances are that those that do turn up on the 16th of October and play in the Trialist team, that with a few spots that we have left, it will ultimately be assigned to one of those players, really, because they've made the effort to turn up and show what they've got. So that's one final promo shout out for Team South I just want to put out there. And that's it. Yeah,
that's it. That's everything from us. I think the one last thing actually is the I don't know if I don't think you mentioned it, Ash, but the Just Given page will be up and running around about November, we think. So to take any donations that people want, we'll start selling tickets for the event itself probably January 2023.
Yes.
It's around the same time that we did it this year. But between November, when the site goes back up, people can, a couple of pound, and we know times are hard out there for people at the moment. It's it's going to be a bleak winter. Hopefully, hopefully not too bleak. But if anyone can spare like a pound or two, whatever they can, that'd be huge for us. So we'll tweet something out when the website's up and running and ready for donations, and the same we'll put something out for when the tickets are available. So yeah, I think that's everything, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you mentioned even a pound or two, it makes a massive difference. And I remember last season there were people who were saying, depending on how a fantasy football player did in a given game week, they'd donate X amount as well. So even if you want to set up like a little mini challenge and you're hoping that your captain absolutely does fantastically well and you donate £1 per goal or something, stuff like that would be greatly appreciated as well. And we're totally mindful that we're going through a cost of a living crisis right now in this country and the wider world. And like from our perspective, we just want to raise money for a fantastic cause. And in terms of the money that that you're contributing to it, again, it's whatever you can give at the end of the day. So don't feel obliged to give anything beyond your means.
Absolutely. Yeah, we know how tough it is for people out there. Everyone's going to feel that particularly over this winter, and hopefully we just get through it. But like I say, a pound, whatever you can give, be gratefully received. And we just want to raise a little bit of money to, people are struggling here, but it's with the work that Street Child do, there's people who are even worse off than we are. So anything that we can do to help those kids out, then it's well worth it.
Absolutely. And just one final thing, Benny, I think I've got it on the ticker running at the YouTube stream, that for the most up-to-date information on Game Week 39, follow that handle at GW39FPL. Get all the information that you want on there. I think it'll be a combination of teams just about the event itself and also bits about Team North and Team South. There's also a Team South handle at Team South FPL. Is the North handle active, Benny? Just thought I'd mention that as well.
Yeah, I've got no idea who runs that. So one of the I think maybe Pig or Sam Martin set it up just to ridicule the South. It will probably be active, but don't DM that page. You'll just get like a snarky DM back from Pig or something.
Yeah.
So send it. Just send me Game Week 39 any messages, and I'll answer them sensibly, probably.
Fantastic. That's really it, Benny. Apart from that, thank you so much for your time today. For those, I guess probably doesn't make a difference. I will add timestamps to this YouTube stream for those that want to watch it on playback and not having to watch all of it. So that will make things easier later on. And that's really it from my side. We've not really talked about FPL, but we'll save that for another night. Today was about Game Week 39. Once again, raising money for Street Child United. And that's really it. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to listen to about FPL, I think Black Box have been on for 2 hours, so they've probably got another 3 hours to go before they're done. So yeah, if you want to catch up with some FPL stuff where they'll be talking about Solanke or something for 45 minutes, then feel free to move over there.
Thank you very much. And just one final PPPPS shout out from my side. Please share this recording with as many people as you can. Just spread the word about Game Week 39 and about how we're raising money for Street Child United, because ultimately we want as many people involved as possible. So your likes, shares, and shares are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.